Wishing you a great Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us. On Wednesdays, we get a visit from our good friend Matt Lee, here to talk about Kingston real estate numbers for January. This is the time of month where they release the numbers, looking back at a year.
Yeah, so we have a new program that is now it's instant. So as soon as January 31st came, we're good. So I have all the numbers and things are looking great. I mean, we've talked about this in the past where winter can be slow, it can move, and the weather is all dependent on that.
Depends if there's snow on the ground. We
haven't had a deep freeze. We don't have a lot of snow. So I think that the market's busy, and we can see that from the numbers. So we're and the calls that are coming in, we're noticing.
Well, we've been lucky. I know in January, sometimes we hit 3 weeks in a row of like minus 20, minus 25 degree highs. We haven't had that this year.
No, that's right. And you know, February is the long month, you know, so we're hoping that, knock on wood, I mean, we're getting snow at the end of the week, but you know, that can be cleaned up. It's just a matter of if we can stay out of that minus 25 stuff, we're great. We'll be sailing through.
Break down the first set of numbers for us. We'll be looking at some January stats regarding total listed last month.
Yeah, total listed 387, so that's down 8% from the January of 2019. Number of sold is 169, that's down 6%, which is about 10 houses from 2019. Percentage sold, so you know, active to the actual number that had sold is 43, so that's a healthy number, meaning that it's not 100% sold, so therefore we're not losing the full amount of houses that have come on will go out. I mean, of course we want that to happen, but there's a supply and demand thing. You know, if all the houses, if 387 houses come on and 387 houses sell, then all of a sudden your prices start to skyrocket. I mean, that's what you see what happened in Vancouver.
Wow, and Toronto, no doubt. Numbers sold, 169 is that last batch.
Yeah.
It seems like a big number for 1 month in one city of Kingston size.
Well, if you look at the amount of, I don't think so. You know, if you start to get into the middle of summer, you'll see where it goes to about 350. You know, and I think that that's one of those things that we see. Okay, so average list price sold. So the average house, when you looked at it, it was listed for $418,825. The average sale price was $408,350. So that average price went up 13%. So that is a huge number. And then the the list to sale price ratio was 97.5%, which means that if you looked at the average price, people were paying 97% of that asking price, and that's how it works. So if you see something where it says 418, you know, that average, you know, that means we're getting above 400 for norm. I mean, we're seeing townhouses in the West End that are listing above 4, you know, and that's brand new stuff.
Right.
You know, and we're seeing, so then you start to see that average creeping up over that 400,000. But it is up 13%. So even though listings are down and sales are down, that kind of goes back and forth to that supply and demand thing. That price is actually climbing at that rate.
Every property is different, and of course, location.
Yeah.
But do you go in asking a little bit less or offering a little bit less than asking?
I think it really comes down to the house, and because there's different strategies of how it's setting up. I mean, so there's times where people maybe price it where you think, oh, I would have priced that higher, but they hold offers for a week. So then all of a sudden there's not, you know, I have to go into the house and I have to look at what the value of the house is and do my own market analysis on every house. Somebody says, I like this house, I want to make an offer. I don't look at that asking price. I go back and I'll pull 20 listings that have sold in the last 6 months, and we'll go through it, and I'll say, I was in, you know, 18 of these houses, and we say, okay, this is what this looked like, this is what the comparable is, this is where I think this is at, plus inflation over whatever amount of months it was, because we are climbing. What we saw last year was 9%. You know, that's 0.75% per month.
That's why you become the best friend of that person going through that process.
Yeah. No, you want to make sure that and they're excited, and you want to make sure that everybody's making a logical decision, and you're helping the way you can.
And not based on emotion. The last set of numbers here, we're talking about days on market.
Days on market, 49. So I mean, it's not selling in 7 days. We are seeing stuff that's selling in 7 days, but we're seeing stuff, if it's 49 is the average, then you're seeing that there's some stuff that's sitting on the market for 75, and some stuff is selling at 5. The average list price unsold is 542,350. That just means that that's that higher bracket that just isn't selling as quick or as much.
Right.
And then we're still seeing expireds. So you see 32% expired off the market, and that's residential, because I was checking to see, is that vacant land? We see lots come on and go off and different things. That was strictly residential, 32% expired.
For traditionally a slow month, Kingston very, very busy.
Things are busy.
Thank you so much, Matt Lee.
Real estate tips brought to you by Matt Lee of Royal LePage.